All right, hey, so in this video, what we're just going to do is go through all the different types of examples that I could really throw your way. And so again, on the top, you can just go ahead and fill in those blanks. This page will model several different scenarios when solving, all right? And again, friendly reminder that we've got here in green that the multiplication of distributing is going to happen first before we combine like terms with adding or subtracting. All right, let's dive on into this example right here. So with the parentheses, that's going to catch our attention. We're going to distribute this -9 to both of these terms. And right here, a -9 times 6 is going to be a -54. And then -9 times x is going to be -9x. All right, now I'm just going to bring down the rest. We've got the -9x and then equals 0. So in this example, what I'm doing is showing you guys that sometimes you might have a problem given to you where it's set equal to 0, and that's okay. You're still going to distribute first, and then we combine like terms. So we've got the -9x, and we're going to take away 9 more negatives. So this is going to be 18 negative x. And we can put the -54 over here. I know that we've talked about how the constant is supposed to come last, but that's only because I wanted you guys to see when solving the equation to get comfortable. But I think that's okay for you guys to see that the constant is right here. So we're going to add the 54 on both sides right there. So I'm going to drop that line for y'all. The constant was the -54, so we add 54, that cancels out. And then here we've got the -18x left over. And on this side, the 0 plus the 54 is 54. All right, and now we're going to divide both sides by the coefficient, the -18. And when we do the 54 divided by -18, let's see what we get. All right, cool. So a -3 is our final answer for this one. All right, so we distributed first, which was the multiplication piece of this. Then we combined like terms. Here we had -9 minus 9, which is -18. And then we had the two-step equation left over, so we got rid of the constant, and then we got rid of the coefficient, and we got to our final answer, okay? All right, so now for this next example, it's very tempting to see this 16 minus 10 and to want to make that a 6. But if you do 16 minus 10, what you're doing is the very last part of PEMDAS first, and that we know is not supposed to happen. So we need to find the multiplication part first with the parentheses, and it's going to be to distribute this -10 to the 2 and then to the -x. So I'm going to go ahead and just put the 16 down in my answer. And then I've got the -10 here times 2 is going to be a -20. Now a -10 times a -1x is going to be a plus 10x. A negative times a negative is a positive. All right, so we distributed first, and now we're ready to combine like terms. Here I see 16 minus 20, and 16 minus 20 is a -4. And then I'm just going to bring down everything else. And like I said, if you feel more comfortable putting this first and then putting the -4, that's completely fine. That's exactly what I've been teaching you guys to do so far this entire unit. So that would be the 10x first, and then we'd have the -4, and then the 76. So if you prefer that in your notes, feel free to write that. It just, to me, because the 16 and the -20 was right here, the -4 just kind of made sense to put it underneath it. And now I'm going to be just getting the two-step equation solved. So if this is the constant, the -4, I'm going to add 4 to both sides. This cancels out, and I'm going to bring down my 10x. And here, 76 plus 4 would be an 80. So when we divide both sides by 10, 80 divided by 10 is 8. So for this one, we get x equals 8. So the big mistake I often see in this problem is students doing the 16 minus 10 first and getting a 6, and then thinking you're supposed to distribute a 6. Nope, that is not the case, because again, that would break the order of operations for PEMDAS. All right, here, so we've got 2 more examples here in the middle, and then we're going to round out with 2 more down towards the bottom. So what this one up here was meant to model was the big mistake I see right here, the tempting 16 minus 10, but it's tempting, but let's not do it, okay? Now with this one, what I'm trying to model is that you might see a minus sign out in front of the parentheses, and you might forget that that's technically a -1. And you might also forget that my strategy is to say that just take the opposite of everything you see in parentheses. So this is a -3, and then it'd be a -8x. So that's what I'm trying to model in this example. Now again, if I put the -1 here, it'll help you guys see that -1 times 3 is -3, and -1 times 8x is -8x. So that's what the kind of special case is in this example. And now I'm just going to bring down the 5x, and then we had a +7, and then we have -3 minus the 8x, and then equals 37. All right, now we're ready for step 2, combine like terms. So we've got 5x's, and with these 5x's, we're going to take away 8x's. So 5 minus 8 is going to be 3x's, but that's -3x's. And then here we just have 7 minus 3, and 7 minus 3 is just 4. 7 minus 3 is 4, and since it's a +4, I'm going to put +4. And I can circle that in green to remind you guys of where I got that 4. All right, and now we just have the two-step equation ready to solve. We're going to take away 4 on both sides. 4 minus 4 cancels out, and we're going to bring down this -3x. And here, 37 minus 4 would be 33. Now we're ready to divide both sides by the coefficient. So here we get x equals -11. All right, so again, what I've modeled is that if you see something equal to 0, it's not that big a deal. When you get to the constant step, you've just got 0 plus the number. Cool. Here, when you see two numbers, do not do 16 minus 10. Make sure you distribute first. Here, when there's just the minus, make sure you think of it as a -1 so you can catch that. Okay? Now with this one, what I'm just trying to model is, again, the fraction math when you guys see the 2/3 when we have to distribute. So 18 divided by 3 is going to be 6, and 6 times 2 is 12. Since I've got an x, I've got 12x. And now I've got to think of 2/3 of -9. I'm going to go ahead and put my minus sign because a positive times a negative is negative. 9 divided by 3 is 3, times 2 is 6. So we have distributed in green, and I modeled, again, another fraction problem where we have to distribute a fraction. And now let's just routinely combine our like terms. We've got the 12x, and right here is a -5x. 12 minus 5 is 7, so I'm going to put a 7x. And look here, the -6 plus 6, a -6 plus 6 actually cancels out. That would be 0. So we don't even have to put the +0 here. We can just put equals 21. And now we just get to divide by the 7, and we're done. So this one kind of saved us a step because our constant canceled out. And we get x equals 3. All right, just two more examples here. So again, practicing how to distribute, we've got the negative fraction, and we have a negative halves of a positive number, so this is going to be a -4x. Negative half of 8x is -4x. And a negative times a negative is a positive. So this is going to be half of 6, which is 3. All right, now I'm going to bring down this. And we're good to combine like terms here. We have the -4x minus 12. And 4 negatives and 12 negatives is going to be 16 negatives. And then I'm just going to bring down the constant plus 3. And this equals 35. All right, we're good to solve our two-step equation by getting rid of the constant first. We're going to take away 3. We've got a -16x equals here a 32. And when we divide this positive number by this negative, we're going to get a -2. So x equals -2. And last but not least, over here, what we've got going on is it looks a little bit like the problem up here, but this first term has an x with it, so it's not quite as tempting to try to combine. So it might be a little bit more obvious that we're going to distribute here. Let me first just bring down my -2x so I don't forget about it. And then in green, my -2 times 3x is going to be a -6x. then this -2 times the -5 is going to be a +10. All right, now we're going to, whoops, let me get that. There we go. We're going to bring down the 5x plus 7, or equals 7. All right, and now we're going to combine those like terms. So I've got these two negatives and then these 6 negatives. So this is -8, y'all. This is -8x. And the -8 plus 5, the -8x plus 5x is going to be -3x. Okay, that's -3x. All right, now there's no other constants, nothing to do with that 10, so we're just going to bring down the 10, and then it equals 7. All right, so we're going to get rid of the constant. We're going to minus 10. We've got a -3x, and here 7 minus 10 is -3. So we're going to divide a -3 by itself, and anything divided by itself is always 1. All right, so pretty much if you can handle these 6 problems, then you can handle any scenario that I'm going to throw your way when solving. Okay, that concludes this video. Thank you for watching.